In this lesson, we will discuss the attestation of findings. Attestation is a process that involves the formal validation or confirmation provided by an entity that is used to assert the accuracy and authenticity of specific information. This process is crucial in various contexts, particularly in conducting both internal and external audits, where it serves as a foundation for asserting the reliability and integrity of data, systems, and processes. Now, attestation of findings is essentially a way to prove that the penetration test actually occurred, and it signifies that the findings are actually valid based on the evidence you presented. These attestations of the findings is something required depending on the organization's reason for conducting a penetration test. If you conducted a penetration test simply because the organization wanted it, then you might not be required to provide an attestation of your findings. But if they're doing it for compliance or regulatory reasons like making sure they're compliant with the GLBA, HIPAA, Sarbanes and Oxley, or PCI DSS, then the organization may require a letter of attestation from your penetration testing firm to show that this is an official record that the penetration test was completed. If you're asked to provide a letter of attestation or attestation of your findings, then you want to make sure that you include a summary of the findings as well as proof that you have conducted the security assessment during a given period of time for that organization. This way, the organization can take the letter and show it as proof to a third party to show that they have conducted a security assessment by using the firm for the penetration test. Now, often we get asked, what's the difference between the attestation of findings and the report that a penetration tester may deliver to the organization at the end of the engagement? Well, the big difference is the attestation of findings also includes evidence. So, for example, if you provided a finding that said they were not using multi-factor authentication and you're able to bypass their system by using standard username and password, now you're going to provide them evidence to show that that exploit actually happened and they're not just taking your word for it. This might be a thing where you're going to sit down with them and go over all the details from the report and pull out your evidence to show them what you did and how you did it. This might include bringing out detailed reports, data, logs, explanations, or even some of your exploit code to show them the risk that they have and how you are able to go about exploiting them. When it comes to attestation, though, sometimes you will not leave the evidence with the organization. For example, if you show them some of your custom code that you use to be able to exploit their network, you do not have to leave a copy of that with them, but you will show it to them during your attestation meeting. This is in contrast to the report that you actually delivered that will show them the findings and remediation that you recommend, but not necessarily the way you exploited that vulnerability. This is a key difference when you're talking about attestation. Now, normally, you're going to hear people talk about a letter of attestation when it comes to the attestation of your findings. This may be more about the fact that you can prove that the penetration test actually happened and prove that to a third party who may be interested in the security of the network of that organization that you are hired to target in your penetration test. But that is really going to depend on the target organization that you're doing a penetration test for and why they hire you to conduct a penetration test in the first place. Now, you may also hear about attestation in terms of software attestation, hardware attestation, and system attestation as well. But these are more for integrity checking of your organization than what is usually conducted during a penetration test. Software attestation involves validating the integrity of software by checking that it hasn't been tampered with or altered maliciously. For instance, by installing a software update, a system might use cryptographic techniques to verify the update's digital signature. If the signature is valid, it attests that the update is authentic and hasn't been tampered with since it was signed by the software vendor. Hardware attestation involves validating the integrity of hardware components. For example, a trusted platform module, or TPM, can be used to attest that a computer hasn't been tampered with. The trusted platform module can store measurements of the computer's hardware and firmware configurations, and these measurements can be checked at boot time to ensure that they haven't changed unexpectedly. System attestation involves validating the security posture of a system. For instance, a cloud service provider might provide attestation that its services meet certain security standards, such as being ISO 27001 or SOC 2 compliant. This attestation gives customers confidence that their data is being handled securely. In internal audits, attestation plays a significant role in evaluating organizational compliance and the effectiveness of the internal controls. For instance, the internal auditor may provide attestation on the accuracy of financial records, the effectiveness of risk management strategies, or adherence to internal policies and procedures. This process helps to ensure that the organization is operating effectively and efficiently, and that it's compliant with all the relevant laws, regulations, and standards. External audits, on the other hand, are conducted by an independent third-party entity. These external audits often involve the attestation of financial statements, regulatory adherence, and operational efficiency by the trusted third-party assessor. For example, if an external auditor may provide attestation on a company's annual financial statements to confirm that they present a true and fair view of the company's financial position. This attestation is crucial for stakeholders such as investors, creditors, and regulators who rely on these statements to make informed decisions. Regardless of the type of audit being conducted, attestation remains a big component in strengthening trust, enhancing transparency, and ensuring accountability within an organization. By providing a formal validation of the accuracy and authenticity of information, attestation helps to build confidence among stakeholders, promote transparency in business operations, and ensure that the organization is held accountable for its actions. So, remember, attestation is a formal validation process that asserts the accuracy and authenticity of specific information, and it plays a crucial role in both internal and external audits, serving as the foundation for asserting the reliability and integrity of data, systems, and processes. Regardless of the audit type, attestation is key in strengthening trust, enhancing transparency, and ensuring accountability within the organization. It builds confidence among stakeholders, promotes transparency in operations, and ensures organizational accountability.